In this video, we will cover how to enter detailed information about the existing equipment that is proposed to be replaced and the new proposed replacement equipment. We will go over how to provide information about the baseline equipment, baseline engines, new equipment, and new engines. We will end by discussing how to review and submit the application, and also go over how to avoid or address some common error messages. In the video titled Completing the Application Part 1, we discussed how to add a project component record to your application. After you've created at least one of the project component records you want to include in the application, you'll be ready to add the detailed information that is required. You'll be able to continue entering information for the other project component records afterwards. To get started, select Draft Project Components on the sidebar. The list at the left shows all of the draft project components that have been created that are associated with your user account. The list on the left also shows the project component ID. Please take note of this ID, which we will use to refer to this project component in communications, contracting, and reporting. The project components will be in the draft state to show that you're still working on entering information. They will stay in the draft state until either the application is submitted and they move to the Submitted Project Component section, or until the application is withdrawn, at which point they will move to the Canceled Project Component section. Click the Edit button to continue entering information about your project component. Enter the information about your equipment functions, costs, and operation in the first part of the project component form. Then save the form. Be sure to provide all required information about each project component. If you don't, error messages will appear. Also, if you don't provide complete information, the program review team won't be able to evaluate your application. Next, you'll enter information about the baseline equipment. This program is about reducing NOx emissions from older, dirtier, legally compliant equipment. So that's why we need to collect detailed information about the existing equipment, which we are referring to as the baseline equipment, and the new equipment. Make sure that you have all of the information in the paragraph listed here, and then click the checkbox to show the next set of questions. After providing information about this piece of baseline equipment, you'll need to add detailed information about the engines in the baseline equipment. Click the plus button on the right to make the questions related to engines appear. Enter the information about the engine and upload the executive order for the engine here on this form. Then you'll press Save to close the form and return to the equipment page. For each engine in the baseline equipment, you'll need to click this plus button and enter engine information. Next, you'll move on to uploading supporting documents for the equipment. You'll do so by pressing the plus buttons. Then, you'll save the form. Next, you'll enter information about the new equipment. Press Edit to return to the form. Then select the checkbox here to display the questions for the new equipment and new engines. You will need to fill out that information and upload supporting documentation. When done, save the form. If your application includes several or many project components with similar types of baseline and new equipment, you may want to try using the Copy function. After you have completed entering information for one project component, press Copy at the top right of the project component screen. This will copy the information for the baseline and new equipment into another record. Enter information for the copy, and then save the form to save the information for your new project component. After you have entered the information about all of the project components, go back to your draft application. Now, you'll need to take a few final steps before submitting. First, you'll provide information about the applicant's compliance status with air quality regulations for all owned equipment. Next, you'll provide business documentation, such as a W-9, and documentation that you have the authority to submit the application. Third, you'll certify the application. Finally, before submitting the application, we recommend that you review the draft application, draft project components, and draft engines pages by clicking on the left sidebar. Please make sure that the information is correct and that all supporting documents have been uploaded. If the data you have entered is not showing on a form, try clicking the Updates Available notification on the list on the left, or try saving the page and reloading. When you're ready to submit, save, and then click Submit Application. If errors occur when trying to submit the application, please review your application to ensure you've updated all required fields, including those in the project component and engine forms. After submitting your application, you will be able to continue editing until the solicitation deadline. You can do so by pressing the Edit button at the top right. After that date has passed, the application will be locked, and no edits to your application can occur. Please remember to submit your application prior to the deadline. Unsubmitted applications will not be evaluated and will not be eligible for award of funding.